Hello and welcome to the brand new Houlihan's Wire powered by Jostle. If you're seeing this video, then you've already logged in, but in the future, please always use the login to the left. Don't try to use your Google ID or your work ID. Jostle works best in Google Chrome, Firefox, or Internet Explorer 9. If you're not using one of these browsers, you may get an initial warning that Jostle won't work as well. Close this message and ask to never see it again. Most of our restaurants use Internet Explorer 8, and our Jostle features will work just fine. The first screen you'll see is the News view. We'll come back to that in a moment. To really understand the power of Jostle and the impact it will make at Houlihan's, you've got to understand the people. In People View, you see beautiful pictures of everyone who works for HRI and who has access to the wire. The stars indicate that the person is an external contributor like a franchisee or consultant. A green teardrop indicates that person is online. When you hover your mouse over someone here, you get a snapshot of who they are and the role they play in the company. Click through to see more about them. For example, when I go to Amanda Stone, I can see a snapshot of what she's responsible for. I can also see her contact info here, a bio that she's written about herself, or her contributions and how she fits into the company. When you click on yourself, you have the option to change your photo, add a bio, edit your contributions, and your information. Contributions are important because they're searchable by other users. So for example, if you want to know who handles Stereotech, just search for it. Murray Michenhaus will come up. Or if you aren't sure who handles Woodstain, just search. Kurt Tenneman's your contact for that. For Support Center employees specifically, it's really important to keep your contributions current to help the field know who to call about various subjects. Here, you can sort people by location, by concepts, or you can see different views of the people in the company. Now let's go to Teams. Teams helps you understand our organizational structure. Who works for who? Who's the GM of which restaurant? Which rod oversees which locations? On the left-hand side, you can look at the organization by name, role, or team. You'll notice that each general manager is responsible for a restaurant. Assistant managers and chefs share this login, just as they do now. To make the site more personal, we suggest each restaurant take a photo of their management team to replace the image of the building. It will help to put faces with names and make interaction more natural. From this view, you can left-click to view somebody's profile. We've also added the accounting coordinator structure right over here to have the ability to add more special assignments in the future. I can click on Amanda and see which restaurant she services. Finally, teams and committees. Click here to get a better understanding of who is on specific teams within the office. If you have a question or a comment for the team, you can click Email Team right up here. Do note that this feature is only available to people with their email client on their computer. It won't work if you log into email remotely. Now let's go back to News. As you can see, Jostle displays our news visually and has photo and video capabilities built right in. We can distinguish important news by making it a featured article with a red bar at the top. Click anywhere on the image to read an article. The newest news is in the top left corner and reads left to right. Older news is pushed further down in the feed. At the top of an article, you can see who published it or who is responsible for the information. To the right, you can like it or you can print it. Within the body copy, you'll find links to important supporting information. Here's an example of a link within the body copy of this story. But here's what's new, and what will be most critical to improving communication using Jostle. If you find yourself with questions about something you read in Jostle, we want you to post them here. Chances are, if you have a question, someone else does too. This will allow us to have a discussion right here on the article, and will keep everyone on the same page. On important articles like this one, we recommend you click Subscribe to Comments, even if you don't intend to comment yourself. This will notify you when comments or clarifications are made. You can use the View and Sort buttons to manage your news. You can look at only articles you haven't read. You can look at featured articles only. And remember, featured articles is how we'll designate the more important news items. For Houlihan's, we'll do in-store offer postings a little differently than we have in the past. Instead of posting every single week, we'll post once for the month. We'll add weekly details for each offer as they become available. News is searchable right up here. So if you remember an article but aren't sure when you read it, just search for it. In Jostle, we'll have the ability to post polls, so feel free to weigh in. There's also a capability called Shoutout. A shoutout can be given to anyone by anyone and should be used to give kudos to an individual, restaurant, or team who did a great job. Shoutouts are visible to everyone, so shout out next time someone deserves recognition. Let's move on to Activity. Activity gives a snapshot of recent updates in Jostle. Here you can post a status about what you're working on, similar to a Facebook status or a tweet. This would also be a great place to make a suggestion for things you'd like to see on Jostle. Library is similar to the folder system we have on our Wire. The main enhancement is that you can now see thumbnail views of folder contents. This should help you to recognize frequently used documents easier. The library is searchable too. So for example, if you're looking for a CapEx form, just search it right up here. The search feature looks for both names of files as well as keywords within those files. Each folder in the library has assigned librarians. These are people who are responsible for maintaining its contents. So for example, if you hover over the I right here, you can see that Susan Korp and Tracy Wilms maintain the accounting folder. If you have questions or suggestions for how to improve the folder, you can email them directly. Do remember that the email feature will not work if you're accessing email remotely. More links you directly to important company applications like Instruct, Microsoft Word, Manager Reports, Excel, etc. Partner and vendor websites are in the Websites folder in the library, just as they've always been. Each Wednesday, around midnight, you'll get an email from Jostle summarizing all of the news stories from that week. This email will take place of the weekly email you've been getting from the Wire on Tuesday afternoons. It's important that all managers are up to date on company news, so be sure to read this email every Wednesday morning. And in general, be prepared and on the lookout for future email notifications from Jostle, as the Houlihan's Wire is now powered by Jostle. Now you're all set to explore. If you have any problems or questions, contact Melissa Jonas or Mandy Stone for help.